Hello guys, how are you doing? Welcome back to another video and welcome to loot from 10 hours of Zalcano compared with loot from 10 hours of the Wintertodt boss in Zaya. So yeah, I'm going to be comparing these two skilling bosses in old school RuneScape and the loot that I got from 10 hours of doing both. The loot is going to vary for quite a number of reasons, so especially skill levels are one reason that the drop varies from both of them, but I'm just going to be briefly describing a kill for each one, showing you the loot that I got, but also show you what influenced the loot that I got, as if somebody else did this experiment they'd probably get very different results. So we'll be starting with Zalcano, the mining boss in Winterdodt. Just to mention, you might wonder why the videos are quite long. I do demonstrate different kills of each of the skilling boss in this. If you want to skip that, you can. I'll have some markers in the description as well as on screen for you. So if you're just hunting to see the loot, feel free to go to them. But if you do want to watch how a kill works, then you can do that as well. I'm just going to show you a typical kill of this boss, so you do not have to watch this bit. If you do want to find the next bit, then just move ahead about 3 minutes from now and you'll be at the loots from Zalcano. But it's a fairly straightforward boss once you get the hang of it. I have done a guide on this, by the way. That is in the description if you want to check it out. But yes, Zalcano will spawn in the middle of the room and you must mine tephra in either one of 4 corners in the room, depending on which rock is glowing. You must then refine this tephra in the furnace, which is on the east side of the room. And once you've refined it, you need to imbue it, which is on the west side of the room. This is the runecrafting section. And now you're ready to attack Zalcano, and you must attack him with the tephra by throwing it at him. There are ways to increase your damage by using the demonic symbols that do spawn in the middle of the room, but if you're in a strong team, it's often recommended just to throw your tephra and try and get as much damage as possible. And once you've done that, you must mine him, and you can see your damage indicated on screen. And then you simply repeat this process 3 times. He is dangerous sometimes. I haven't talked about the attacks yet, which I will now. So he will spawn these demonic symbols in the middle of the room. If you go in the orange ones, you will take damage and lose run energy. And if you go in the blue ones, you will be empowered. So it's a good idea to make sure you go in the blue ones when you're throwing tephra, if they're available. And yes, as you see, you can spawn them randomly like you did there, and that person just at the back got caught in them. So imbue the tephra straight into the middle of the symbol and throw at him, and then your damage is increased. Your damage here is also increased by your runecrafting level, and for this phase where you mine him, it is determined by your mining level, I believe. And yeah, we're killing him quickly in this one, so got to repeat this process just the once more. And you may throw an attack that destroys the rock, and if this is the case, you must either refine the tephra that you have or go to the next rock in the room that is glowing. See how he got me there with the demonic symbols, spawning them pretty much bang on top of me. And yeah, some people choose to tank them, but this isn't really a good idea as you take unnecessary damage. You're better off waiting for them to disappear or making your way around the room. And don't get hit by one of those boulders either coming down. They're pretty easy to dodge. You can see them coming from about 5 seconds before. If you do get hit by one of them, you're going to take 40 plus damage probably. And I did get 1 hit by one of them once. I'm not proud of that. Well, I am proud of that moment. I guess you've got to die to every boss once, haven't you? Yeah, watch those symbols. And mine him for the final time. And this was a pretty fast kill, and it took us about 3 minutes because we were a very strong group with people who are maxed as well. And you'll get a drop, and you'll get 2 crystal shards with your drop, and 3 if you get the MVP along with ashes. So MVP is most valuable player, most damage done. But when you're in a group with maxed people, it's pretty difficult to get this, as they're likely to get most of the damage on the tephra throwing phase. But yeah, there's a typical kill of this boss. So now you've seen a kill, I will just run you through some of the drops that you can get from the boss. So it's mainly resources connected to mining, runecrafting and smithing. So you get a mixture of gems to do with mining, obviously. You'll get runes, you'll get ores, you'll get bars, so you get onyx bolt tips, and yeah, the bars can range from top tier to lower tier. Obviously, if you get the higher tier items, then you're going to make a bit more money. But for this boss, the loots are based on the damage you've committed to it. So whatever drop you get will be, the quantity of that is determined by how much damage you've done, not the actual drop itself. You could get pretty much any drop from Zalcano, but you just wouldn't get a very high quantity of it if you hadn't done much damage. But you can just see a few of the things that I've got here. 2 uncut dragon stones there, and 2 crystal shards you get at least with every kill. If you're the MVP, so you do the most damage, you get 3 crystal shards. I won't be including them in the final loot, but they can be used for things like herb lore, the elven crystal chest. So I probably will add a bit of profit on at the end when I compare the two for the crystal shards. So I think I'll probably use them for herb lore on my account. Yeah, Onyx bolt tips, that's one of the best drops you can get, 11 of those. And yeah, just runes on that one. And yeah, average kill time, as you saw by that clip, usually 2.5 to 3 minutes with a very strong team like the one you can see here, but it can sometimes get up to 4 minutes, even 5 minutes. So that's why the number I got in 10 hours of doing this boss doesn't maybe add up to what you might think. And yes, this also happened. Kill count 114. Now you have a funny feeling like you're being followed. Yes, I got the Zalcano pet. It's my 3rd pet on the game. Very pleased to have got that. And yeah, look at it. Looks amazing. Obviously, I had to show it off for a little bit afterwards. So I think I left the area as soon as I'd got it, as there is a chance of losing it if you don't have your pet insured. And my inventory there, that was a typical trip that you'd see me do, depending on what supplies I bought. The usual trip's about 20 kills or so. And looking at 10 hours of this boss then, I got 175 kills in total. So as I said, it can vary the kill count from sort of 13 to 14 an hour, but also up to 21 and 22 per hour. So I was about in the middle of that. Half the time I was with very strong teams, and half the time not very strong teams. So 10 hours of this boss. Also got a Zalcano shard. It's one of the rare drops. Should have mentioned that. 428 crystal shards in total, so a few MVPs in there for me. And yeah, the runes adding up to a pretty decent chunk. Yeah, lots of different ores, mainly coal and mythical gold and silver. Tons of mythical bars, that was a very common drop. 140 onyx bolt tips, 17k pure essence, worth nothing though, and a few gems in there as well. So 12.2 mil in total, looking at if we were to sell that on the Grand Exchange. Plus the pet and plus the crystal shards as well, so maybe add on 4 to 5k per crystal shard I've seen, and we've got a pretty healthy profit. So yeah, roughly 12 mil from 10 hours of killing Zalcano. Next I will show you a kill of the Wintertodt, or a subdue of the Wintertodt I should say. Again, if you know how this works, I recommend you can either skip the next 4 minutes or so of the video, as that's roughly how long the kill will be. So the Wintertodt will start, and you must chop broomer logs, which are located in a part of the room. There's 4 different braziers that you have to light. Each team assembles. One team takes each brazier, but I usually just go to the southwestern one, as that's the closest one to the bank. Or if I'm using the POH method, which I am in this clip, then it doesn't really matter which one you use, but it respawns in 1 minute after it dies, so it's often recommended just to use the closest one. And it will do damage to you very, very often, and you can indicate that by obviously your health going down, and also the cold of the Wintertodt seeps into your bones. Apologies if I get the pronunciation wrong, I just go Wintertodt instead of Wintertodt sometimes. But yes, once you get the logs, you can either feed them to the brazier, or you can fletch them into broomer roots and add them to the brazier. And this is what gets you points in the game, and points is what gets you rewards. And yes, you can see it interrupts you quite a lot, and you have to re-click to get your character to start fletching again. Otherwise you'll simply keep taking damage and you won't get anywhere. And I think the damage, the way it's calculated, is based on your HP, so that's why you see a lot of level 3s doing this boss, as you pretty much only take 1 damage every time there's an attack from the Wintertodt. There are a few other attacks that it does, but once we see them I will speak a bit more about them. So yeah, my strategy was normally just to fletch a full inventory at the start, so that would be 20 or so broomer roots. Yes, I'm getting absolutely wrecked in this clip. And as soon as I've fletched a full inventory, add them to the brazier. And you can tell how much health the Wintertodt has left by the top left health bar, 54%. So redemption you might want to put on in case your health gets low, and it will just heal you back up again. So if you're using food, if you're using the POH method. And yes, it interrupts you again if you're feeding the brazier, so you have to relight. And this attack here, you have to run away, otherwise you'll take heavy damage. It fits in a 3x3 area, and if you're underneath it, it's going to hit you hard, although if you're level 3, you'll take 1 damage. It might burn out the brazier, so in that case, just relight it and you'll get some more firemaking experience along with some points. And yes, the firemaking experience is very overpowered here. I was getting like 200k XP an hour at like level 75, which is a lot considering what firemaking used to be like and how tedious it used to be. It's a bit of a controversial boss, Wintertodt, I think, for me. It did make the skill a lot easier, and it shouldn't really be making firemaking quite as profitable. But I guess it's a new thing, and people enjoy it. Or well, I don't think that many people enjoy it, but it's a good way to sort of start your account. It's a good goal to go for. So you can see I've got 600 points at the moment. The minimum is 500 to get yourself a crate. Health's starting to get a bit low, but because I've got redemption on, it will heal me. I've just got to make sure I watch out for the ice attack, otherwise it could one-hit me like there. So I've just got to quickly move out of the way. And some people took heavy damage, but I was out of the way, so I was fine. Keep an eye on its energy, and as soon as I think I'm ready to fletch and get a full inventory, or however many I've got into the brazier, I'll start fletching, and then try to use up every single log in my inventory before the energy goes to 0 in terms of maximising points and efficiency. And there's a few other mechanics like the pyromancer dying, or and you have to either go to another brazier or heal her. And you can see I've got this kill roughly about right. I'm going to use pretty much everything I've got in my inventory. And then just those big XP drops from the firemaking is what I like to see. So yes, adding the broomeroos is 25 points. Repairing it or relighting it is 25 points. And adding the normal logs is just 10 points. So I'd recommend you fletch. And almost over, got that one pretty much spot on. 890 points, 8k firemaking XP. That's your level times 10. Teleport to POH. Drink from your rejuvenation pool, and ornate jewellery box, teleport straight back to Wintertodt. And it starts again in about a minute, so head straight back through the door, back to your starting position, and get ready. So with this POH method, you don't usually have to use food, as you can just put redemption on. The Wintertodt hits you less the lower your health gets, so you can often sit on like 20 HP, and as long as you avoid the big ice attack, you'll be fine. So let's talk about the loots that I got from 110 subdues of the Wintertodt. So you get a supply crate after each game as long as you get 500 points, and that gives you 2 rolls on the drop table. If you get 750, you get 3 rolls. If you get 1000, you get 4 rolls, and so on. So yeah, the rewards you can get all skilling items, and they do depend on your levels in those skills. So for example, high level fishing would be better fish, high level mining better ores. And in terms of my skills, mine are all fairly high already, so this probably did buff the drops for me a bit. So yeah, like I said at the start of the video, this would be different if you did it and your stats were not the same as mine, whether they were higher or lower. Chances are you'd probably make more money if you had better base skills, or less money if you didn't. The other rewards are burnt pages. They go with the Tome of Fire, which is very, very rare. You can also get the Pyromancer outfit, which increases your firemaking experience by 2.5%, I believe. The warm gloves, the Phoenix pet, but otherwise the drops are pretty standard and straightforward. Lots of snapdragon seeds and yew seeds, particularly for me in this one. And yes, burnt, that was probably one of the best ones I had there. Mahogany logs, raw sharks, and burnt pages. And yeah, that was a Pyromancer garb, the only Pyromancer piece that I got, unfortunately. Yeah, 1 in 50 drop rate for the Pyromancer outfit. And yeah, more burnt pages, always proving to be worth quite a bit. Gems as well, and coins, also didn't mention them. In terms of my points per game, I was probably averaging 750 to 1000 each game, depending on how quickly the Wintertodt was subdued. Some games I got attacked quite a lot, so I lost quite a lot of chances to either fletch or feed the burner, but some games were quite plain sailing, and especially with the POH method that I showed in that clip, it became much easier. And yes, I got myself a Tome of Fire as well, 1 in 1000 I think. Thank you very much. That was a very nice surprise, especially after the luck that I'd had with Zalcano, to then get myself a tome in Wintertodt, which is almost as rare as the pet in Zal. I think 1 in 1,000, and Zalcano pet 1 in 2.5k, something like that. So yeah, I'll definitely take a bit of the old RNG on the skilling bosses. Also got myself a pair of warm gloves as well towards the end, not bad on that. 3 snapdragon seeds and warm gloves. And then these were just the final 5 that did, so 110 subdues in total in the 10 hours. I think that's roughly the peak you can get with a strong team, 100 to 120 I think, but yeah, 110. Okay, I'm going to split this price check into 3 separate ones. So first up we've got gems, fish, logs, or dynamite saltpeter, and coins. So just going to price check this, and then I'll add them all together at the end and see what we got. So gems in total coming to about 113k. The fish roughly 100k. And then the ore's about 150k or so. Pure essence not too much. Dynamite and saltpeter also not coming to much. And then a bit more for the logs, and finally the coins. So yes, 761k from the first set. Second price check is going to be for the herbs and seeds obtained from the Wintertodt during the 10 hours. So a decent selection of all the herbs, got torsals there, cadantines, reynards, lancertimes, crumbs, and totally 177k for herbs. The snap seeds, what a contribution they made, 13 of them, 1 mil in total. And yeah, the reynard seeds doing the business too. Got myself a spirit seed, although that is not tradable. 6 U seeds, very decent amount, 465k from them. So yeah, 2.25 mil in total from our herbs and seeds, plus the spirit seed. And just finally, the rares and uniques that we got, the pyromancer garb, the warm gloves, the tome of fire, and 188 burnt pages. So yeah, the tome of fire empty is tradable, although the pyromancer garb and warm gloves are not. 785k for the tome and 529k in total for the burnt pages, so about 1.3 mil from our uniques. Adding all of those numbers together gives us a total estimated profit of about 4.3 mil from 10 hours of subduing the Wintertodt. Comparing the profits, Zalcano was obviously a lot more profitable than the Wintertodt, but me having 99 mining and high smithing did make quite a difference there. And the main obvious reason is the fact Zalcano is locked behind some pretty high requirements, and in general it's going to probably be more profitable because of this. If my skills were a bit higher in Wintertodt, maybe I would have got some better loots from the crates, but in general Zalcano is much more difficult than Wintertodt, and for that reason it's going to be much more profitable. I still think as a boss it's a little bit too overpowered. I mean, both of them are, to be fair. Wintertodt's XP is a lot higher than perhaps it should be, but if you hate farming, you're not going to complain. But yeah, and Zalcano is a bit more intense too, although Wintertodt can get annoying if it keeps sort of hitting you every 5 seconds and you have to keep clicking. But yeah, both good bosses on the whole, worth killing or subduing or killing, whatever you want to say, for some money. And XP rates for Wintertodt excellent. Obviously Zalcano not so good comparing them in terms of that, but yeah, Zalcano definitely something I'm going to do quite a lot of to make more money on this count. Wintertodt I might go back to if I want to do a bit more fire making, but otherwise I've not really got any plans. Just wanted to create this video and just compare 10 hours of doing both of them. And obviously, as I keep saying, there are a lot of factors that influence this, so it would be different if you did this yourself. Those profits would probably be very, very different. And you probably wouldn't get the pet either if you're doing Zalcano. So I do wish you all the best on that, and I hope this video was informative. And if you've got any questions about either of these bosses, my profits, how I've worked everything out, feel free to let me know in the comments. But otherwise, take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video.